karma's kind of a bitch, isn't it? It really sucks when that comes back around to bite you in the ass.
Thank you for saying that, because this story, when I read it, God help me, and I'm so sorry, forgive me. I really am a good person, but I immediately went, well, what are you going to do?
Well, I'll say this. This is not a bit where we're going to be sitting here talking and bashing all police by any means. No, but there are bad ones. There's great ones. There's wonderful ones. There's bad people in everything, and there's bad people there, certainly. And we're talking about one of the bad ones in this segment. So before anyone starts going, oh, they hate the police. We don't. I have them on the show all the time. I have family who are. You do too, and I'm establishing that right now. You are allowed to have opinions about bad people, though. That doesn't mean you're talking about every single person who happens to be in their line of work. So let's start with that. Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin, who is serving a lengthy prison sentence for the killing of George Floyd, was stabbed by a fellow prisoner at the Federal Correctional Institute in Tucson, Arizona, according to sources. The attack, which occurred on Friday afternoon, has raised concerns about communication with Chauvin's family and attorneys. So this happened on Black Friday. Chauvin, who became infamous for his role in the death of George Floyd, was seriously injured in the assault, but he is expected to survive, as reported by the Associated Press. The Minnesota Attorney General's office later confirmed the incident that Attorney General Keith Ellison expressed his sadness over the violence. I am sad to hear that Derek Chauvin was the target of violence, said Ellison in a statement. He was duly convicted of his crimes, and like any incarcerated individual, he should be able to serve his sentence without fear of retaliation or violence. And you know what?
Should he?
If we had a truly well-oiled prison system in this country, which in theory we should have with the amount of money that goes into it, we shouldn't be running into these issues of all the time these sort of things happening. Now, I know I'm the first to raise my hand and say maybe prison justice will take effect here on some cases. I am. I do say that quite often. But at the same point, too, if it was just eradicated in full and we actually just had people live out their sentences without a lot of these issues, it would be lovely. But I think we're in a place where that's probably nearly impossible to institute. So sometimes, you get what's coming to you. Gregory M. Erickson, an attorney representing Chauvin. I always say Chauvin. Yes, for whatever reason. When I see it by itself, I say the wrong thing. When I see it with the name Derek, I say Chauvin. I don't know. Chauvin expressed the outrage over the lack of communication regarding Chauvin's condition. Erickson stated that Chauvin's family members were not informed promptly after the stabbing, raising concerns about their ability to stay updated on his well-being. As an outsider, I view this lack of communication with his attorneys and family members as completely outrageous, Erickson remarked, highlighted the need for transparency and prompt updates about Chauvin's situation. The Bureau of Prisons confirmed that an attack had occurred but did not disclose the identity of the inmate involved. They mentioned that employees took life-saving measures to assist Chauvin before he was transported to a hospital. Multiple unnamed sources cited by ABC News indicated that Chauvin was expected to survive the attack. Chauvin's current attorney, William Mahoram, what is it? Mormon?
Mormon, maybe?
It's not Mormon.
Well, it's Mormon.
No, I think you're right. It is Mormon.
I know, right?
I think you're right. Has not provided an immediate comment to the incident. Previously, Eric Nelson, Chauvin's former attorney, has sought to have him placed in solitary confinement for his own protection during his time at the Minnesota State Prison. Well, why not? Why not put him in solitary? Let's let him whittle away down to what happened to the individual being charged in the Delphi murder case, Richard Allen, where he's been in solitary for a year and now looks like a shell of a human.
He's not even guilty of a crime yet.
Exactly. Why not put him in solitary? That would actually be very bad. You don't want to be in that for long periods of time. The stabbing incident took place shortly after the U.S. Supreme Court declined to hear Derek Chauvin's appeal against his murder conviction. Chauvin has been found guilty of murder in April of 2021 by a state-level jury, resulting in a 22-year sentence. In December of the same year, a federal court found him guilty of violating George Floyd's civil rights, adding 21 more years to his sentence. The attack on Chauvin has ignited discussions, of course, about safety and security and high-profile inmates and the need for transparent communication with their legal representatives and family. We've been talking about this for a while now. We've been talking about Richard Allen's treatment in prison and how screwed up that is at the moment, because he should be in a local jail, not in a prison setting. that's not at all how that goes. And we've seen the effects.
Well, even Huerman is in jail, not prison.
Even Koberger is in jail. Jeez. I mean, I can't say I'm all that surprised that this has taken place. Kind of surprised it hasn't happened yet. But yeah, I mean, this was a horrible, horrible situation, a horrible death that should not have occurred.
Did you watch the full video?
Yeah.
I did too. I sat and I made myself watch the entire video of George Floyd being murdered. And he was murdered.
It was ridiculous. I mean, there are times where it's like, look, someone is doing their job and they're defending. This is not that. This is an extreme amount of force being used on someone that is telling you that they can't breathe. And
wasn't fighting.
And at that point, you have other things on your belt to help restrain an individual. You have a taser, you have handcuffs, you have all sorts of things that could keep a suspect at bay if you feel for your safety. He did not.
And other officers were there.
And other officers there that could have helped as well. There was 1,000 things. This was completely fucking wrong.
This was a choice. He made a choice to continue to squeeze out the oxygen from this one man over what I think was a counterfeit piece of money. Is that correct? Like $20?
I don't know what it was, but it was something.
It was something so stupid and so insignificant to take somebody's life over. He was judge and jury right there.
Yeah. And that's not the job of the officer unless there's a weapon being pointed at you. And you feel fear for your life, that's one thing, but this was not that. Again,
clearly
not that at all. So, well, I guess this is another case of prison justice attempting to make itself known. Who knows what happens to Derek Chauvin going forward, but I know for me, I'd like to never hear it again. Yep. I'd like to never have to hear his name again because why? Someone lost their life out of this. That's never coming back. There never truly will be justice because the guy's dead. So any more time and breath that the rest of us have to spend on Derek Chauvin is kind of a waste of time. But interesting to see. That karma really can be a bitch.
Want to listen ad-free? Want advance access to all of our interviews before anyone else?
Become a True Crime Today Premium Plus subscriber on Apple Podcasts.
You get every episode commercial-free.
So you can binge on true crime
until you can binge no more.
Search True Crime Today Premium Plus on Apple Podcasts now, or go to our podcast page and sign up now.
More of the Hidden Killers podcast next.